Sharam Namdarian here doing a selfie cam video using a really shitty tripod. In this video we're going to be talking about influence and how surrender is a kind of process that you can use to create amazing relationships and have an effect on other people. Now, influence is this very interesting topic. Some people think influence, being influential, is manipulative. Look, it is sometimes. Sometimes it's scary. It's scary that we can be influenced. Often what people do is when they find out that they have been influenced, it can be a confronting thing. It's an ego thing, right? So when you are going down a path of influence, it's really important to always have this rule. You always want to leave people better off than how you found them. Now, will you always get that right? Fucking no. Did I always get that right? No. I've been hurt. I have hurt. Was never the goal, never the intention. So without further ado, we're looking at influence from a process of surrender, of emotional surrender to oneself, so that way we can create the relationships we want to, because that's really what influence is about. It's not about, some people might do it to get a certain result. What I would say is what influence, just like anything else, is truly about creating the relationships that we want to create. So you might look at a friend, a co-worker, a lover, a partner, and want to create a particular kind of relationship. You might look at business and want to create particular kinds of customers. Generally speaking, willpower will only get you so far. That's why we turn to a process of surrender, because when we surrender, we're actually letting go. We're letting go of control, and we are letting ourselves be who we're meant to be. So first of all, as always, what is surrender? Surrender is the very simple process of allowing yourself to feel whatever the fuck it is you're feeling, which means if you're sad, you're fucking sad. If you're upset, you're upset. If you're depressed, you let yourself be depressed. You surrender to whatever is happening underneath. The act of surrender itself is a very emotionally releasing process, because as you do that, you are letting go of a lot of the control we have, so that frees up a lot of emotional energy. But pretty soon, the thing you're surrendering to ends up running its cycle, running its course, and that then is let go, and we get what is called a concluding thought. Now, when it comes to influencing other people, often what they are is a reflection of what we are. So what does that mean? If we're annoyed at, have you ever noticed when you're annoyed at someone, it's like often you just get more annoyed at them? Like no matter what they do, it might end up creating more experiences where you're annoyed. Or like when you're stressed out, you just do things that make you more stressed. Well, basically, the emotions we feel towards someone is often very much the emotions they feel towards us. Most of the time. Obviously, there are exceptions. So if you're pissed off at someone, unless they are completely emotionally oblivious, they might very well be pissed off at you. If you are, this is when you're this is in the world of influence, by the way. If you're trying to get a result with someone, if you are feeling like it is not working out, if it's janky, why I say it's a reflection of you, why they might feel it's towards you, is because your emotions color your experiences. So when we are feeling sad about a relationship or about a connection, more often than not, what our actions do is create something that will end up making it more sad. So if we're feeling, like I did a video before about frustration, and Alison commented, yeah, but these people and these things. So it's like you're feeling frustrated with these people. First of all, you're not surrendering to your frustration with the people you're frustrated with, but as you're frustrated, all you're doing is communicating more frustration. So for example, what happens when we're frustrated with someone? We're like, they're just not listening. So what do? We communicate to them that they are not listening to us, that we know better, that they don't, and we end up putting them down, and people don't necessarily want to be put down. So as we surrender to our reactions, that's the process here. We surrender then to our reactions to someone else. We end up elevating those reactions. So as we might feel frustrated with someone, we might feel sad, we might feel attracted to them. Once we have surrendered to those reactions, ultimately then what ends up happening is they run its course, we let go of a lot of control over the situation, and ultimately what ends up happening is they end up elevating. So you might be frustrated with someone and you want to feel connected with them. Well then, as you let go of that frustration, you might realize that they are just like you. They are on a similar path to you. They are you in many ways, and so you end up creating more connections than you do disconnections. This is one of the things I always find when people try and help other people. When they try and help other people, but they're doing it from a place of you're wrong, I'm right, unless that person likes being wrong, they're not going to be able to help them. I find that most people don't want to be wrong. They want to know where they're right. So as you surrender to your reactions with helping people, for example, influencing them to think, if you're a coach, for example, a life coach, you might then surrender to your reactions at a person and realize that they are just hurt like you are. And they are destined for so much more. So you can say that. You're destined for more. What person does not want to hear how good they are? That's the thing. And what do? We get more of what we're given. So if someone tells us to feel good, and that's the thing, like, ultimately down the road, as you do this path of surrendering, at least to your reactions to other people, you start to think so highly of people. But what's interestingly enough is that people then start self-actualizing around you, because your perceptions of them are really high because you've surrendered to the lower emotions. You've let them go. You've done your healing process with those emotions. Because your perceptions of them are so high, they themselves feel better around you. They feel like they can be themselves around you, that they're comfortable around you, that they're wonderful around you. They'll feel more themselves. And that's what we as humans do. We gravitate to self-actualize. We gravitate towards things that will help us self-actualize. If you're someone who is caring, you will find people to care about. If you're someone who is daredevilishly go-getting, you will find things to be daredevilishly go-getting around. That's why I often find we have to look at our goddamn emotions, especially in relationships, because when we look at our emotions in relationships, we might realize we're a fucking masochist the entire time. That we ourselves were like, oh my god, like what people do who have a string of bad relationships is that they are used to having bad relationships, so they will be attracted to people that give them bad relationships. They are comfortable with bad relationships. On the other hand, once we've surrendered to our reactions to that person, it's like, I'm attracted to this person, so I surrender. I'm attracted to this person. I surrender to that emotion. I'm attracted. Then you might realize that you were attracted to being hurt. You were attracted to the struggle. That it's like in relationships and other parts of life, it's very interesting. Often people believe they have a struggle, so they don't let themselves be successful sooner because they're used to the struggle. So what do? They find something more to struggle with. When the answer comes right in their face, no, too soon. I'm one of these people. It's like, I want something to happen, someone gives me the solution, I'm like, no. But it's in that case, what do? We surrender. We always motherfucking surrender. We let ourselves feel whatever is happening deep underneath at an emotional level. So that means, as always, when connecting with someone else, I want to help that person, but they are not accepting my help. Well, therefore, you must surrender. Oh, but they're not accepting my help. That's really frustrating. So you let all those emotions come up, you let all those emotions pass, you let go, then you get, most of the time, some of the time, you get what is called a concluding thought, which is like a summary. You know, you finish reading the book and you get a summary of whatever it was. You finish letting that emotion run its course, you get a summary. You might then realize that person who does not want your help, here's the clincher, was getting already help from you. So you didn't have to try so hard. That your presence was helpful enough, your aura was helpful enough. And that's the thing. More often than not, a surrendered person who has elevated their emotions will then realize that more often than not, they are already getting the results that they want. But it's so, their awareness is so minute, so spectacularly tiny, that they are willing to see it at a level that maybe me helping someone is just being around them. Maybe just the intent to help someone is enough. And so therefore, you can then let go of even more. You can let go of trying to help because you know that you are, and then you develop reference experiences. So you develop a higher acumen towards helping that person because you've already started collecting this. Most people struggle when it comes to human connection because they think it has to look a certain way. You know, once we start to realize that the really minute detail, someone loves me because they're being around me, someone is interacting with me just by looking at me, we start to open the door to bigger and higher relationships because we start to collect more experiences, more positive experiences, and we get what's called inner momentum. So thanks so much for watching this video. If you did like this video, good work. All right, talk to you soon.